Go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. Let's have the roll call.
Kessler,
Here.
Walters,
Here.
Rardon,
Here.
Hewitt,
Here.
Benner,
Here.
Hardin, here, Crum,
Here.
Thompson.
Here. Tonight's invocation will be given by Councilman Martin.
Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, for keeping your hand upon each and every employee and city employee. And Father, we just pray that you be with us in this upcoming season and pray that you watch over us and be with each and every one of us. In your precious name, amen.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item tonight is a special order business. We have several employees that we are wanting to recognize for their service. So we're going to start with Angie's. We'll just start.
We'll start with Kayla Kostecki. She has been with the city for 5 years. She's currently the accounting clerk. She began working for the city in August 2014 as a part-time office clerk. In February of 2015, she moved to the full-time position of administrative secretary, and in September 2019, she became the accounting clerk. Kayla has served on the safety committee, where she created the workplace injury contact cards and a workplace injury flow chart that makes it easier for employees to know what to do in case of injury while on the job. Kayla is currently pursuing a Bachelor in Business Administration for Accounting at Wichita State University. Her hobbies include reading, gaming, and watching TV and movies. She has a great work ethic and an attention to detail that makes her a great asset to the city.
Thank you, Angie. Rob?
I have Frank Cortez. Frank Cortez has been with the city for 5 years. He is currently the program supervisor for the Recreation Department and has been employed with the city since January 28th, 2015. Frank has been instrumental in implementing our softball, baseball, and t-ball programs. He helps incorporate new programs and assist other coworkers with their events whenever necessary. A significant amount of Frank's responsibility comes with teaching boot camp style classes, fitness classes, and personal training sessions. He incessantly reminds his co-workers to make good choices when it comes to their personal diets.
Rob. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Our first employee up is Lydia Vargas. She's been here for 5 years. Lydia has been employed with the Haysville Police Department since October 5th, 2015. She was hired as a community resource specialist and was promoted to community resource specialist supervisor July 1st of 2018. She graduated in 2013 from Kansas State University with a Bachelor's of Science in Public Health. She hopes to keep excelling at her job, where she can continue to serve her community. She currently resides in Haysville with her husband, Stephen Meyer, and their 3 dogs. She enjoys thrifting in her spare time and watching true crime documentaries. Our next employee, you may have seen him out here in the hallway, Aaron Watkins. He's been here for 5 years. Aaron started his career in law enforcement with the Haysville Police Department on September 14th, 2015. He was promoted to Master Police Officer on October 20th, 2019. During his time with the Haysville Police Department, he's worked all 3 shifts, first, second, and third. The last year and a half, he's been a school resource officer responsible for Haysville Middle School and Haysville West Middle School, Rex Elementary, and Prairie Elementary. He's also one of our certified DARE officers, and he attended college at Butler County Community College and Newman University, studying criminal justice. He enjoys working in the community and interacting with the citizens. He enjoys working for the city of Haysville and hopes to retire with the city. Aaron enjoys spending time with his dad and brothers. He has an identical twin brother in the Army, and Aaron is an active car club enthusiast and is currently rebuilding and restoring a 1974 Chevelle Laguna in his spare time. The next one we have in the police department is Mark Mullen. Mark began working for the city on December 12, 2005 as a police officer. He was already certified as a police officer since 1996, having spent time with the Saline County Sheriff's Department as well as the Concordia Police Department before coming to Haysville. Mark was promoted to the rank of Master Police Officer and has spent time in Haysville in the patrol section. He's currently assigned to second shift. Mark has received several awards during his time here, including the Officer of the Year award. He's a graduate of the University of Nebraska with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And next we have Officer Brady Simmons. Brady grew up in Haysville, graduating from Campus High School in 1991. He began his employment March 14, 2005 as the Animal Control Officer. He was later promoted to Patrol Officer and attended the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center in December 2007 and was elected the class president of the 190th Basic Training Class. He was promoted to Master Patrol Officer in 2011, and he spent 6 years as a school resource officer in Haysville High School, where he taught 5th grade students and built lasting relationships with staff and students. He's also active in community policing, where he coordinates the National Night Out celebration in August, assists with the DEA prescription drug takebacks we do every year, and teaches crime prevention classes and other safety courses. He was the Kansas State Officer of the Year for 2013 and 14, and he's currently working in our investigation section, working a wide variety of cases with an emphasis on child sex crimes and abuse. He earned his bachelor's in history from Wichita State University in 2004 and his master's in history from Southern New Hampshire University in 2016. He lives in Haysville and is currently the historian for the Haysville United Methodist Church. And that's all of, well, almost all of the police department.
Thank you. Bill?
The last one in the police department, you may have guessed, is Chief Whitfield. Jeff began working for the city on November 13th, 1995 as a police dispatcher. And he transferred to the patrol section and went to the academy in 1996. Was promoted to Master Police Officer and spent time working in the investigation section as the dare and warrant officer and also field training officer. After being promoted to sergeant, Jeff went back to the patrol section and was a street supervisor for a couple of years. After that, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, spent time in charge of the patrol section, and was also support services commander, which helped the other departments within the city, writing policies and procedures, among other duties. While in support services, Jeff also became a Kansas Certified Emergency Manager. He's also a member of the Kansas Incident Management Team. And in 2011, Jeff was promoted to Chief of Police. He's a graduate of the FBI CS Leads Seminar as well as the Kansas Police Administrators School. Also a graduate of Fort Hays State University with a BA in Criminal Justice and a Master's in Liberal Studies. Also completed the mini MPA program through WSU. And he's married to his wife, Deborah. They have 3 boys. And in his spare time, he coaches and plays ice hockey.
Tony?
Kenny Stark began his career with Public Works in May 17, 2015 as a Park Worker 2. He worked as a Park Worker 2 until April of 2019 when he was promoted to Park Worker 3. Kenny's duties include maintaining Pride Park, Historic District, City Hall, Hazel Activity Center, and various parks around Haysville. At this time, Kenny is currently working on winterizing city facilities and parks. In his spare time, Kenny enjoys bowling and still chasing the 300 game this season, hunting, watching football, mainly the Kansas City Chiefs. He enjoys working under his boss, Kirby Manny, and his fellow employees at Public Works. Next up, Kirby Manny began his career with Public Works on June 19th, 1985. Kirby is currently the Parks Department Supervisor and oversees 7 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee, and up to 2 seasonal employees in the summer. He takes special care to see that all the city parks are kept clean, all playground equipment is safe, and all city properties are well maintained. During the winter month, Kirby and his crew are busy decorating for the holidays that you saw on your way here, as well as winterizing city facilities and parks. During inclement weather, the Parks Department treats and removes snow and ice from city facilities. In his spare time, Kirby enjoys riding motorcycles and spending time with his family.
I think you can see Kirby's been with us 35 years, so probably almost as long as some of you guys were born up. Okay, we're going to move on. We want to thank all the employees for being with us this long. Presentation approval of minutes of November 23rd, 2020.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of November 23rd, 2020.
Second.
Was there a change somewhere or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right there.
Okay, I didn't bring my copy. There were multiple changes. The wrong
copy was sent out with the packet. So this is the correct copy that was handed to you tonight.
Okay. So what you're approving is what was handed out. Okay. We have a second somewhere?
Yes.
Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
I had one thing for
Question?
discussion.
Ms. Kester?
I see the recreation department under department reports, it's in there twice. Same thing is listed, so we'll just make a recommendation that we remove one of them. To the bottom of the back at the first page and in the middle.
Did Rob have one?
do I?
Let's talk about that report.
Yeah, 6th paragraph up and then
Just
the
a
bottom report,
Okay.
bottom paragraph.
Okay, any additional changes? No, I do it? Okay. Item 1, citizens to be heard, we have with us Tom.
Yeah.
I thought we did.
No.
Oh, question.
Kessler,
Did they have to amend their motion?
Amend the motion.
Amend my motion to the corrections stated.
You second his amendment?
Second.
Okay, now call the question.
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ewart,
Abstain.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Item 1, citizens to be heard, we have with us tonight Dr. Craig Parman with the Haysville Family Med Center. He's going to be on the TV units, so here's Dr. Craig Parman. Dr. Parman, it's up to you, you're ready to go. Maybe.
Go ahead, Dr. Parman.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the City Council. My name is Dr. Craig Parman. I've practiced in Haysville for 11 years, previously with Dr. Ray, who left about a year and a half ago. We have two ARNPs who work with me. They just do an excellent job. I've been board certified in family practice for 33 years continuously, and if I said between 25 and 30 years of being certified in geriatrics continuously, that would be accurate as well. I really wanted the opportunity to be able to be a resource to discuss COVID and some of the science behind COVID. My resources are the CDC website, an app that we use in the office called Up to Date, and the Sedgwick County dashboard. It's my opinion that COVID is the greatest public health crisis that we've had since the 1980 influenza, and as of now, it's the #1 cause of death in the United States. I contracted COVID. I was in the hospital at St. Francis for 10 days, 5 days, literally fighting for my life to avoid needing to be put on a ventilator. I had 15 liters of oxygen going at rest to keep my oxygen levels safe. And the next 5 days was able to gradually wean down. I was sent home on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving with oxygen and with home health. And fortunately, I'm doing better, but things like climbing upstairs is enough to lower my oxygen level. The only other time I use oxygen is when I go to the little gym we have in our community, where which I think is probably my best bet to recover my strength. my biggest concern, quite frankly, is the stress on the hospitals, the physical, emotional, and spiritual health of the providers. I had great doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, and all the other people in the hospital at St. Francis. Is my concern that with the current nursing shortage, the fact that traveling nurses are now spread all over the United States, that the type of care that I got, which is part of the reason I survived, just may not be available with the Thanksgiving surge. So my pleading is for Haysville to do as much as feasible about mitigation of the disease, to take the pressure off the hospitals. And by mitigation, I refer to wearing masks, washing hands, social distancing, and wiping down frequently high-touch spaces like doorknobs, tabletops, etc. I like to start by just describing what some of the symptoms of COVID might be. My wife had it as well, and she had very mild cough and cold-like symptoms, but the symptoms can vary from mild to severe, and we also have asymptomatic shedders who are, generally speaking, a lot of the young adults who feel like they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I remember those days myself. In addition to the variety, you can have fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath, flu-like symptoms including fatigue, body aches, and a headache, loss of taste and smell, nasal congestion or runny nose, a sore throat is less often, nausea and vomiting, and diarrhea are less often. When does a person go to the emergency room? When they're short of breath, when they have chest pain, if they have new onset confusion, if they have excessive sleepiness, blue lips, blue face. Under those circumstances, I think you're really appropriate in calling 911. Let me get back to my outline. Let's talk about who is at risk. And in general terms, I'll just say the risk increases as you get older. The risk is higher in individuals of color than it is in Caucasians. There have been a few, pretty specific other risk factors that are in there, including a history of heart disease or lung disease, diabetes, cancer, chronic kidney disease, obesity, and smoking. Anybody who might be immunosuppressed, like treatment for rheumatoid arthritis, is also at risk. Besides the pulmonary problems, there's an increased risk of blood clots both on the venous side and on the arterial side. While I was in the hospital, I was given twice a day injections of a medicine called Lovenox, which is a blood thinner. With the heart, you can get injury to the heart from lack of oxygen, irregular heart rhythms. You can get heart failure. With thrombosis, that can manifest itself as blood clots in the legs and blood clots in the lungs. On the arterial side, that can manifest as strokes, heart attacks, leg arteries being blocked, and ischemic limbs. Those are probably the big ones. There are some specific rashes that can occur. Children generally have a milder course, but there is a process called multi-system inflammatory disease, which can be very hard to treat. And to say it's somewhat like total organ failure for those kiddos, I think that's a very fair comparison. What to do if you have a positive test? First of all, I just noticed this today, and I was happy to see it, that there is a testing from 8:30 to 11:30 at the Haysville Community Center. I don't know what the tests they're running, whether or not you have symptoms, whether or not you need to have an order, or whether or not it's just first come, first served. That's certainly a nice thing for us. I'd like to be able to talk a little as to who needs to test and what you do with a positive test. First, those symptoms would be a reason. If you're recommended by a healthcare provider to get tested, another good reason. Close contacts, and that means 6 feet or closer without mask for 15 minutes. That's another reason to get tested, but you have to be a little careful about the time frame. Most of the tests are going to be positive by day 3 or 4, and you can have false negative test. You can be exposed the day after you get a test. You may have heard a bit about the Thanksgiving surge, and I have an anecdote that is personal that I will share with you, and imagine this all across the country. We really didn't have a Thanksgiving because, unfortunately, my father-in-law, his dementia worsened considerably while I was in the hospital, and I had a rather difficult time convincing his wife, who was rather frail and deconditioned, that hospice was a good choice. They had misconceptions of hospice, but in the end, we're very happy with it. One of my wife's sister-in-laws, she told me, I think a day or two before he passed away, that she had a sore throat. I insisted that she and her other sister get tested, go to my house, since my wife and I were both immune, and segregate. My mother-in-law also tested positive, as did a great-granddaughter and roommate. These are the young people who came in without a mask. I can't prove anything, but they're sick and have tested positive as well, and I'm at least somewhat suspicious. Imagine that Thanksgiving surge applied across the country to the people that traveled, and you can see what kind of issues we might further develop with the hospitals. The next thing I want to speak to is what do you do if you have a positive test? What's the quarantine? If you're only mildly symptomatic, it's 10 days before you can return to work, and you will have had no fever and not had to take any Tylenol to reduce the fever. If you were a severe case, such as I was, 20 days of quarantine is considered appropriate. What's the action that's recommended on exposure to COVID? It's changed a little bit. It was 10 days, and recently the CDC came out with guidelines that would say if you've had it for 7 days and have a negative test within 48 hours of that 7 days and have no symptoms, your quarantine can be over. And in that situation, there's a 5 to 12% chance of falsely getting reassured and passing it forward. So those people should wear masks. I watched the YouTube of the last city council meeting, and I have to agree that, you know, the concerns about fines and possible jail time are draconian, would be extremely difficult to enforce. And so I'm hoping that a strong message from the city council about mitigation, and especially masks, might improve the situation. My son-in-law, who works in Wichita, but occasionally stops in Haysville off the interstate to get gas, he has noticed a difference between customers and mask wearing in Haysville and customers in Wichita and mask wearing. And the difference is, he said, quite noticeable. Employees in both areas wear that. In Wichita, you will be asked to leave or purchase a mask or come back when you can get a mask. Those kind of things are different. I do want to speak of some of the differences in testing. The most accurate test is the PCR nasal swab. Most of those come back within 2 to 4 days locally. They are the most sensitive test. There is a rapid antigen test made by Abbott, and this is what was being used to screen people who might contact President Trump, and we know how that went. And then there's blood tests, and I'm really not sure why somebody would want a blood test, because we don't know what a negative or normal test means. In hindsight, yeah, we might say, oh, when I felt lousy back in May, that could have been COVID. But outside of that curiosity, it has very little predictive value. A couple of things that have happened from the federal point of view, which I think are wonderful. The National Defense Act was put in place, and we had our Spirit people making ventilators, and unfortunately, I think we'll use them all in the United States before this is over, but that was great. Unfortunately, that mandate did not extend to personal protective equipment and testing. I would have strongly suggested that. The personal protective equipment, I'm just like all you guys. My wife has made some cloth masks, and I order PPE for my office, or if I see a deal at Sam's, and I pick it up myself. We have had some occasional donations, specifically from the Sedgwick County Medical Association and from another healthcare program that we work with. I'll also give the administration a pat on the back about Warp Speed, because they were able to get a vaccine to the public in record time. In all fairness, the research for this had been going on for many years, not necessarily for COVID, because we didn't know it existed. But once the DNA sequencing of the COVID vaccine was made, there's a technique called CRISPR, which has only recently been developed, and it was plug and play. You put the part of the virus that you want to have identified into the RNA I'm not sure about the specifics, but into RNA with a different, something a little different than DNA, but anyway, it was, a lot of the research was done before. The distribution schedule, it seems to have started. My understanding is that healthcare providers who treat COVID patients will be first on the list, and that would be our hospital personnel who we can't afford to have sick. It seems that changes frequently as to who might be on that list. A couple things you may already know. There's several clusters in Sedgwick County, several from correctional facilities, a smaller amount from religious organizations, some businesses, more in the long-term care area and more in the schools. Comparing zip codes, and this I came up with just today. So give me just a minute to search. Yeah, okay. The percent positive on test in Sedgwick County in general, with the most recent information I got from the dashboard, is 19.5%. And what that means is 1 in 5 people who feel the need to be tested will be positive. It's 24% in Haysville. There are different zip codes, including my own zip code, which is 30.5. There was a new order from Gerald Menz in the Sedgwick County. They're mandating mask in indoor public spaces, outdoors in line if you're trying to get indoors for something, outdoors when you're unable to maintain 6 feet of space, and public transportation. Businesses where the public will visit are required to wear a mask. The employees are required, and the customers and members of the public are also. They're wanting 6-foot spacing, mass gatherings of no more than 25, limits to restaurants, bars, and places that will serve alcohol. 100 people total, or 50% of what the fire code mandates. They have some similar recommendations regarding the fitness and the health clubs and the salons, etc. And I don't have those specifics. This replaces the order that was made on 11/24, and there is a $500 fee. I don't know how they're going to enforce it. I saw nothing mentioned about jail time. Let me just review my notes real quick. Oh, yeah, I wanted to give you just some numbers. I did something similar for my community that I live in on a Zoom meeting a week ago Sunday. At that time, there were 200. This is in the United States. 277,825 deaths, 302,000 now, and what's that been, 8 days? We went from 14,255,535 cases to 16,400,000 $477,271. And again, this has been, a 9 or 10 day period of time. Let's see. I have talked to at least one of the medical directors at Wesley, and he tells me that at this point in time they're struggling with contingency plans, but they will run out of space and room and beds, to say nothing of the employees and their stress if this continues. One brief example on the age, compared to 18 to 29-year-olds, I'll put myself at 64 at a 4 times greater risk for hospitalization and 30 times greater risk of death. If any of you are 65 to 74, it's a 5 times greater risk that you're hospitalized, and a 90 times greater risk of death, and it goes up from there. I think there's only one other thing that I want to address, and then if there's questions, I'd be happy to answer. I also would be, if I don't know the answer, willing to look it up and try to get back with any individuals. I think you've all heard about how doctors are altering death certificates because they get paid more. There is some truth and a lot of mistruth. In the first place, altering a death certificate would bring severe sanctions and fines, probably cost a physician his license. Medicare does reimburse 20% more if a COVID diagnosis is made. But this is not a windfall for the hospitals because the cost of treating COVID patients and the intensity of the treatment is higher and more expensive. And with all the charity care that will be given to COVID patients, is certainly not a windfall for hospitals, and doctors certainly are not being paid more for putting COVID down as a diagnosis on a death certificate. I'd like to answer any questions anybody might have now.
Any questions for Dr. Barman? Don't see any.
Are there any questions?
We do appreciate you coming today and giving us that information.
I didn't exactly hear that. That was a question. Would you please repeat?
There weren't any.
Dr. Parman, we don't have any questions for you.
Okay, that's great. I guess that means I bored you to death, or I anticipated your questions. Should something come up, though, I will be available to answer any questions. And what I would really hope comes out of this is a strong message from the Haysville City Commissioners about the importance of mitigation. And as I said before, this enforcement is draconian, and I just don't know how it would be done. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak on this. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll check out now, and thanks again. Bye-bye.
We'll move on into the agenda then, which is the item 2, approval of license and bonds. A, cereal malt beverage licenses renewals. A, Cash Savers. B, Jumpstart. And C, Dollar General Store. Ms. Parker?
I make a motion, we accept the the cereal malt beverage license renewals for the 3 businesses stated. Second.
Vote second to approve the cereal malt beverage license renewals. Discussion? Question?
Hustler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Hewitt,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item 3, introduction of ordinance and resolutions. Resolution that the community of Haysville urges its citizens to join the effort and hereby declares the city to be and official interest in the Pride program for the year of 2021. This is something that's required for Pride to have a committee in town. Ms. Barton?
I make a motion, we accept the Kansas Pride Program 2021 entry government resolution.
Second.
Motion second to approve the Pride resolution. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Gerardin,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item 4, notice of communications, government body. Mr. Crum?
Just library, of course, hours are changed. This is Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They have limited services on Saturday. You call ahead to check out an item and to turn things in. They do have their drop boxes still outside. Also wanted to mention at the high school and the middle schools that winter sports have started. I know at the high school, recently the wrestling team won a big tournament. The swim team has had 3 meets and they won 1 and took second at 2 of them. The girls basketball is 2-1. The boys basketball team's 2-1. Both of them won their game against the City League team in the current ABCTL G-Wall Basketball Challenge. Just kind of wanted to point that out. And everything's going well. As of right now in Haysville, Keisha did change the rules to allow that districts can allow parents at some events. As of right now, in Haysville, the board doesn't have a meeting again until next Monday on the 21st. As of right now, there's still no spectators allowed. USD 261 events. I know that in the future, if that does change, that there still will be some events that spectators won't be allowed just because there's not room. I know in Wichita where they went ahead and are starting to they can't allow parents at swim meets and indoor wrestling meets. I saw Carol did one outdoors last past week so that they could have people. But mainly because when you have an event like that you've got multiple teams at, like at the swim pool, we have the teams to separate the teams. They're actually sitting in the stands where the spectators would be, so there's nowhere for the spectators to be. So that's just something to know that as of right now, until at least the 21st, no spectators are still allowed in Haysville. That's all I have.
Any other announcements? Mr. Thompson?
I'd like to announce that Haysville has a new citizen. My granddaughter, Penelope Jade Thompson, was born December 8th to my son Scotty and his wife April. Thank you.
I have the senior center in Haysville Hustle, which is not as good as what we just had. Tuesday, the senior center simple weight loss group, 1:30. Wednesday, commodities, 1 to 2:30. Thursday, smoker at 1. Monday, December 21st, chair yoga at 10. And they will be closed for the 24th and 25th for Christmas holiday. Haysville Hustle, looks like the numbers are starting to pick up. At 8 one-way rides from December 1 through December 10. 4 new riders this past 2 weeks. 1 rider that comes every Tuesday and Friday. And the Walmart and Kohl's trip didn't have anyone this year. Those are the announcements for those. With that, we'll go and have the new business of Whitney's Playhouse. Sedgwick County Fire's report is in there. Email Cox communications regarding video services. And we'll go to number 5, other business. A, consideration of grant award, rescindment, and approval of pay applications. Georgie?
Mayor and Council, as stated in the memo, I'm needing you to rescind the 2 awards to Detail Doctor and Lions Auto. They are not able to meet the state requirements, so we're needing to pursue 2 other businesses. I will also need a second motion for you to approve the updated pay app. You can try to answer any questions you might have.
Questions before we start? Ms. Crum?
Georgie, did the 2 that we had to rescind against, do they understand why they didn't meet the criteria?
Yeah, there's certain paperwork they have to sign and verify, and yeah, they can't sign it.
Okay.
They don't want to sign it, so.
And if there's no other discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the rescindments as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the amendments as presented. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Gerardin,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the new pay application, how the new pay application with the monies fixed as we just did.
Second.
Motion second to approve the new pay applications for the grant awards. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Rardon,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item B is the 2021 council meeting date changes. Councilor, do you have something? No?
I was gonna make a motion for the change.
Go for it.
Shouldn't it be 2020 though?
No, it really is 2021.
No, okay.
I think I got a little excited and maybe presented a little too early, so I know there was some confusion, but this is for next year.
Okay, my question is, what's the 1 day difference?
Gives us time to create the packets and so have the Christmas off before that.
Create it before you go on vacation for Christmas. Okay.
So we do now need our, get the motion, Mr. Kessler?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2021 council meeting date change.
Second.
You will remind us, right?
We have a motion second to approve the new change dates in 2021. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Rardon,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Georgie, give us the new senior center contract.
So this is just updated from last year. Council has reviewed it, no major changes, so I just need approval for it so I can get it turned in.
I make a motion, we approve the new agreement.
Second.
Motion second to approve the Haysville Senior Center agreement with Sedgwick County. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Rardon,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item D is the first reading of the annual city code updates. And if you feel that you've already discussed it, we can actually pass it tonight too, if you'd like. We're gonna give you time if you want more time to do it. One thing that you need to make sure that you see in these updates, there is the health order that was there. We've amended that to make for just a warning first time and second time 50 and 100, what we've done with that. So it's up to council what they want to do with that health order that was put in previously from the legislature. Part of it wasn't something that we added. Also, you know, you have the, any of our code that we have changed is there, and putting any of the writing and code change that was done by the legislature. So with that, questions, Mr. Walters?
Yes, I certainly appreciate the update on 11-1002. That seems much more appropriate and doable. I certainly think that it's important that we are safe in what we're doing. My only question is, can we amend page 126, which still says it's a Class C misdemeanor, to match up with what we're saying on 11-1002?
Thought we took that out.
So the idea of
It
it
was
is
in
that
there.
this is the amendment to the UPOC. We have all the amendments listed out here, so
Right, but it is not scratched out
Yeah,
in
it's
red.
not.
we don't physically scratch out the thing in UPOC, but with the amendments in our code, chapter 11, those are amendments to what UPOC has in it. So there are all kinds of other things in there that we've got amended. I say all kinds, I don't know how many. but-
It would be similar to our speed limit rules, where our speed limits in town are 20 miles an hour in residential areas, whereas in the standard traffic book that the state puts out, it's 30 miles an hour in residential areas. So by us using our code to amend that, it doesn't necessarily have to be scratched out in the book itself. Our code supersedes that.
Okay.
By using home rule, basically, we go by what's in our code as far as fines and that kind of thing.
All right, thank you.
So there is no jail. Right. Other discussion, Ms. Martin?
Yeah, I noticed on the refuse portion of the code, it was all struck out. Did I miss where we have in there somewhere?
Yeah, lower down in that same chapter 7, those things are covered.
Okay,
And some of that is outdated in the upper section that we crossed out with having to rack your trash and newspapers. It's been there for a while.
Just a little while.
Didn't help a whole lot, the newspaper. Mr. Kessler?
Like I said, the part right above the health ordinance part, talks about the library return, or return of library materials. Talks about return of library materials. Right below that talks about if any of the violation is committed, it's a Class C misdemeanor. Is that talking about non-return items from the library?
Yeah, it's been that way forever. If you have a non-returned item, it can be a Class C misdemeanor to not returning your library book. Yeah, can be.
And
You can
that's
change it
where
if you want, I don't care.
And that's where the $500 fine or
Whatever
jail
they
time
are.
is
Up
for
to
Class C
Class Cs.
misdemeanors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been that way forever.
We have had a person arrested in this city for not turning their library books.
No, that's not true.
It
Yes,
did,
it is.
did a few years ago, it didn't arrest anybody, but I think they got a
No,
good
the
fine.
person, if I understood
Go
that
ahead.
situation, didn't return the library book, was given a court order, failed to show the court, that's what they were caught on. And she said she was arrested for not returning a library book, which was in error.
And we have not been doing it. They've not sent over anyone to be prosecuted or a letter sent to them in 2 or 3 years now. But it is in your code.
Make sure my son turns his books in.
Return your library books. Other questions? Do you want another couple weeks? Mr. Crum?
I didn't want to table it because I wanted people to discuss it, but I'd like another couple of weeks.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to table till next meeting. Discussion? Question?
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Hewer,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item 6, department reports. Will?
One announcement, tomorrow we do have the Sedgwick County Mobile Outreach Team doing the COVID testing at the community building from 8:30 to 11:30 or until they run out of tests. Last time I spoke with them, they said they take 200 tests to each location, so if you'd like to get a test tomorrow, make sure you're there early.
With or without symptoms?
With or without is correct, yes.
Okay. Angie?
City offices will be closed next Thursday and Friday for the Christmas holiday. If there are any emergencies, you would need to contact the police department, or if it's a water or sewer, the number's 529-5912. Awesome, thank you.
Yep. Chief?
Trip over that every time. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just had a couple things real quick. I wanted to bring up that we've had a slight uptick in some crimes of opportunity around with people, certain people going in and looking for car doors that are unlocked and things like that, looking in cars after hours, looking for things to steal. Please lock up your vehicles. Lock up your valuables, take everything in the house that you don't want left in a car. It would help us out immensely. Obviously, we wouldn't have to be there, and it would help everybody else out because people wouldn't steal their stuff that's sitting in their cars. So please just be mindful of that. And also, we've had a few people that have told us that, well, I saw something suspicious, but I didn't call. Please call us. That's what we're here for. If you see something suspicious, call 911. It's not a bother. That's why we're here. Let us come out and check it out so that way we can get it taken care of. Hopefully catch some of these people that are out here doing this stuff. The other thing that I had is each year members of the police department nominate and vote for a police employee that exemplifies what it takes to be a successful officer. Some of these things include courtesy, integrity, and a strong work ethic. Normally we would announce this officer during the Fall Festival, but this year that wasn't possible because of COVID. The Fall Festival Committee was kind enough to go ahead and honor this officer this year, as always, so we really appreciate them doing that for us. Thank you, Janet. They've decided to go ahead and help us out and honor the officer this year, as we always do, so we don't break the tradition, so thanks to the committee. So, Aaron, you want to come in here real quick? Surprise, surprise. The Haysville Officer of the Year this year is Officer Watkins, so I will give you this. And he knew nothing about this, so he's as surprised as. We were both smiling, I promise. Do you want to say anything?
Congratulations.
I don't know.
There you go.
Thank you, Mayor and
Thank you.
Council. Thank you.
Tony?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Water well 6 was budgeted at $25,000 for an acid wash this year. The bid approved was for just over $8,000. Last week, the contractor pulled the well to inspect and perform the work. During inspection, it was discovered further repairs were needed. Those repairs include a new pump, new motor, and new column pipe. Last week, the mayor approved these repairs under an emergency purchase due to potential issues with water demand or distribution system issues. The total cost for repairs are $18,863.76. Also, we'll be closed on Christmas, December 24th and 25th for any water or wastewater emergencies. You can reach our on-call operators at 529-5912. Thank you.
And question, Mr. Crowe?
Tony, I got my math right here. So you had 18,000 budgeted and it only cost part of that, so you had like 17,000 left over and it would cost a little over 18, so it really only went like a couple thousand over budget.
That is correct.
Okay.
Rob?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Haysville Activity Center will be closed next Thursday and Friday for the Christmas holiday. Thank you.
Oh, I should have said we'll do all those, I guess. Okay, we're going to item number 7. Today, we have, on citizens to be heard, we have Commissioner Dalton Bascock. Commissioner, whether you know it or not, is representing us for a little while here anyway.
Yeah.
So, Commissioner, thanks for coming, and we'll give you the floor to whatever you want to say.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for allowing me to speak, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity. I was elected about 2 weeks ago, and I have about 3 weeks left in my term. And so in the time that I have left, I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I know that I've spoken with Mayor Armstrong and a few members of the council already. If there's anything that comes up, please let me know. I have a very good relationship with Commissioner-elect Lopez. And so her and I have been communicating pretty regularly, and any communication you send to me, she'll also be included on as well. And so I look forward to figuring out a way to work together over the next few weeks as well. And if you have any questions for me at the county level, I'll be happy to answer any of them. I got my work ethic here in Haysville. I grew up, spent a lot of my time growing up at 83rd and Broadway. My grandpa had a body shop out there, and so I spent a lot of time out there. And Haysville is very special to me growing up out here when my brother had medical conditions. And so I know this community very well, and I look forward to working with you guys while I have the opportunity. And after I'm done with this, still be an ally of your guys' as well. I want to leave you all with my cell phone, so you guys can give me a call if there's anything. It's 316-648-5613, and that's 648-5613. Feel free to give me a call. My email is just dalton.glasscock@sedgwick.gov. And if there's anything, I look forward to working. And thanks again for the opportunity to speak today. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Come on. Item 8, bills paid. Bills for last half of December. Ms. Seaver?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we pay the first half of December bills.
Second.
Second, pay the first half of December bills. Discussion? Question?
Kessler?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Rardon?
Yes.
Ewert?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Item 9, council items, council concerns. Anybody have any concerns today? Ms. Burton?
I had a couple of people that approached me about the sign on South Broadway, right by the rental place there. It's it's got the pride and all the different, is in bad need of being repaired, and I was gonna write it up, and I totally forgot about it.
It's not our sign.
It's not our sign, okay.
I
Well, that
don't
takes
know
care
who
of
it
that.
belongs to. It's not our sign.
Okay. People approached
There's one on 71st out west, that one.
Right.
Neither one of them are our sign.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Didn't know
We
that.
can find out who it is, I guess, and let them know, but,
Okay.
yeah, we don't know that.
It's yours?
It's Fall Fest. Well, Fall Fest has done it. We just had, this year has been crazy.
okay.
We know there's a hole in it.
Okay, that's fine. I was just approached. I didn't know who it belonged to.
Let's just go cut it down, then we can figure out who.
Well, he kept talking about he was gonna take that sign out, because it's actually the rental center, but we take care of it. And he actually, when he was enlarging, he had talked 3 or 4 years ago that he's gonna take that sign out. And I just need to have Kenny go talk to him and see what he's gonna do.
Okay,
Because if he's gonna go out, we want the metal signs off of it.
exactly, okay.
Mr. Kessler?
Yes, just gonna mention that, I trust what Dr. Parman says. He's my doctor, and, I talk to him whenever I go in. As far as like, I just wanna bring up about masks. I know, you probably heard it before, but, if you're wearing paper masks, like, Commissioner, Glasscock over there, you should wear it it's like a one-time thing. After you wear it, throw it away. These cloth ones, you're supposed to wash your hands, before you take it off, or, after you take it off, before you put it on, which I know a lot of people probably don't. You're supposed to wash them daily, which I know a lot of people probably don't. So it's just getting, if you're getting germs on it, you're always getting germs on it. You're always putting germs up to your mouth if you're not washing your hands and taking it off. So I just want to remind people, just replace your cotton masks daily and dispose of your paper ones after a one-time use.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Other concerns, council? If not, Councilman's request items, the 183 is still being worked on. 10, adjournment. Anyone adjourn? Mr. Kessler?
Mayor and Council, make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. Discussion, question.
Kessler,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Royden,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.